Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. The honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and a few sisters out there. Unto the Israelite foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in Hebrew, which means peace. Quick show through the spirit of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. I'm going to start out with the scriptures, and I'm going to read this article that a brother has sent. We are in that time. So one thing I must say, we are in that time where everything is going to become clearer as the days go by. What's going to get done and what's not going to get done, and so forth. Matter of fact, I'm going to start with two scriptures. Micah 2:1. It says, "Woe to them that devises iniquity and work evil upon their beds." Now we all know this is talking about the elites of Esau, right? And iniquity, what devises is a plan, and that plan that they devise is against us. And we always bring it out in terminology in the form of the not just coming against us, but coming to oppress us. All right, that's why they pass certain unrighteous rules that doesn't really benefit nobody. It's just set for the rich, and it just destroys the poor. All right. It says, "Work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hands." Because they can make these executive rules and these laws and so forth that changes lives. All right. Prime example, which is not what the video is about, but this is one prime example. Growing up in the 80s. Born in the 80s, growing up in the 80s, there was this plague that was called crack cocaine. And with commercials and what you experience in life, when you see somebody that you once knew was healthy one day and become a monster in the next because of this thing. And in the commercials, this is your brain's on drugs. In your mind, you already thought like this is some evil shit, which it is. But now in this society, the same thing that was shunned and considered to be evil of the time in the 80s and the 90s is not considered to be okay. Now the president of the United States wants to give clean crack pipes to addicts and clean needles to heroin addicts. All right, which heroin was a thing of the 70s, and our parents and our older siblings could tell you how it changed lives. But this is all part of their plan. This is all part of their masterful plan. Okay? Matter of fact, get the other precept before I read this article. In Isaiah 10:1, it says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed." And the word prescribe means to write into law. And this man is known for any action that he does need to be written in law before he does it. So basically, you could say, "Look, by our law, you broke this, or by our law, this, that, to the third." All right, now let's get to the article. It says, Biden administration planning lists of employees seeking religious vaccine exemptions. So the same government that caused all this turmoil is making a list of people that decide to say, because of my religion, I am not going to get this. You know what? Why are they doing this for? Because now we coming down to the wire. And it's going to tell you, I'm going to skim through it, but it's a good read. And which we all knew this was going to happen. Just the same way they got a database that people that does have this stuff, they have a database that people that don't have it. And with the DHA's passing a message last week saying that anybody that talks about against the government is going to be considered a terrorist, which that goes back to the National Defense Authorization Act, which Obama signed into law. But they needed something to cover it, just like before the National Defense Act was enacted, needed the Patriot Act to be enacted. All right, that pretty much saying that the government can listen to your phone calls and such. So everything was planned out. Every single thing, all these unrighteous rules and regulations was done. Now, reading on, it says, an obscure federal agency has proposed creating a database capturing the names and persons' religious information of government employees who submit religious accommodation requests to be exempted from Biden's administration, mandate. At least 7 other federal agencies, including 5 cabinet departments, are currently setting up similar personal religious information database, according to an analyst at Heritage Foundation, conservative think tank in the district. The Federal Court Service Offense Supervisors Agency of the District of Columbia, or CSOSA, published a notice of new system of records in the Federal Register on Tuesday. The agency, which supervised the defendants awaiting trial as well as paroles, aims to reduce their redundant and in-rate offenders in the community by connecting with them with resources and invitations. The Federal Department of Treasury, the Internal House and Urban Development, Health and Human Service Department, and Transportation, as well as General Service Administration and Security and Exchange of Commissions, have each published proposed rule making to implement systems of records tracking the workers' religious accommodation requests. It says, and I'm gonna skip down to because it was certain points. Actually, no, that's it. I'm skipping down to this one. It says the Biden administration, mandate for private employers, which was released November 5th, took effect Monday, requires employees with 100 or more workers to document, status of each worker, and mandatory mask wearing and weekly testing for those employees who are, unjuiced. Now, let me see how long ago was this, because, this is last month, right? Because the Supreme Court and everything went against Biden for doing that. So this is kind of old, but is very informative, because the simple fact is they're keeping tallies on everything. They're watching everybody. There's a video surfacing of Canada, a woman getting her door knocked by a police officer, basically saying that, give her information about protesters. And she said, how do you know I was about to protest? He said, because they've been watching her Facebooks. Anybody that likes something or do something, they're watching. So here's another thing that they're doing. Now they want to test everybody's, religion. All right. So how does want as federal agents, skipping it, determine the sincerity or lack thereof of an individual's religious belief. She acts radically. This is Miss Pryor. All right. So like, how you supposed to test somebody's religion? How you supposed to, like, a lot of people get the religious exempt. Some people don't. Like, how is your boss gonna tell, like, if you really believe what you believe in? And this is what we're boiling down to. No more privacy. No more. There's basically no more privacy. It's all about control, controlling the narrative. And it says normally information like that goes directly to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It is maintained for internal purposes, just in the case that there's a future dispute about whether or not religious discrimination exists. However, we're not told why or how this information is being used, and it smacks of religious discrimination on a grand scale. The Supreme Court rulings on the subject have emphasized presumptions in favor of the employee's religious belief claim. Ms. Pryor said. The Washington Times has contacted Shelley Stokes, CSOS, senior agency of official privacy, requesting a further explanation of a new database proposal and why the agency deems it necessary. So, more controlling of everything. It's all about control. Everything is about control. Couple of scriptures. I'm gonna end it off. Wisdom of Solomon 2. I think it's Wisdom of Solomon. I want just one to the point. There it is. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 12. I started 11. Let our strength be the law of justice, for which is feeble is found to mean nothing. Now, when you read this whole chapter, it's basically talking about the unrighteous, the wicked. All right. And like I said earlier, the whole centerpiece is about their law. If you break their law, they come down to you to the highest degree. But they themselves don't follow their own laws. As long as they have the money and the right sort of attorney, they could change everything around. But this is how they're going to get everybody. It's by their law. So therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. He is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law. And the objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. So these people, this main administration is just trying to find ways of counting people that are numbering you. Matter of fact, I should bring that out. They're gonna number everybody, and once it's all said and done, when everybody's in that database, they're gonna come after everybody. All right. Matter of fact, that actually doesn't go with what I'm saying, but this does. Second Ezra 16, about 68 verse. It says, For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and it shall take away certain of you, feed you being idle with things that are offered unto idol. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision, meaning those that sold out, all right? Because a lot of these pastors and preachers going to bring out Romans the 13th chapter. You already see what they did with this people that don't have, saying that how this is God gift to get that juice. All right, they're going to be in derision. They're going to be in confusion because Esau is going to turn on them too. It says, and then reproach and try to run a foot. For there shall be in every place in next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. And how else they're going to do that? By keeping a database. That database is going to prove who's who, what's what. In other words, they're going to know who to go after first. There was always the concept of the red list, blue list, and yellow list. And I believe the blue list is those that would do it. Like, there's no problem. The yellow list is people that's in between, but they could be broken. But the red list is like people that cannot be broken. No matter what they do, however they do, when a new world order thing comes about, these people can't be broken, so they have to kill them. Well, these lists. Esau is carnal, so I'm not just saying what I'm saying. Esau is carnal, so he's gonna write everybody's list, your name, your social, all your number, what you like. That's why you have Facebook, you have Instagram, mainly your Facebook. They can look up your information, see what you like, what you dislike. You look at your history on YouTube, what the videos you've been watching. It was conspiracy theories on this, that, to the third, and all these databases coming against us. All right, so they're gonna come down with great insurrection, great evil, wrath, because they know we are not for them. We're not going to be consented. We're going to be told. We're going to resist them. All right. So this is one of the main reasons they're going to come down on certain people. It says they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. But they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of the houses, and then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Because why? The Lord's going to show them by spiritual powers. So these are another tactic that Esau is going to use to narrow down who's who, what's what. All right, and all these people right now, all these sheeples, you still got people wearing a mask and people long distance. I mean, they still doing all the stuff that the government required. They're not after those. They're after the people that's going against the grain. Okay. And like the Lord told Peter that Satan desires to sift you. All right. That's a spiritual demon, Satan, and the physical as well. And the physical representation of Satan on earth is Esau. That's why Revelation, the 12th chapter, says what it says, 12 and 12. It shall come down hard and have a great wrath. All right. So his whole notion, his whole mindset is to get those that's against him, mainly the Israelites. All right. Mainly the Israelites. So here, O my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. So with that being said, shalom to the elect and the nations of shalom.